The bus hissed, engine coughed, like old memories. The cold rain punished Marcel. It soaked through his jacket, seeping into his bones, relentless and unapologetic. He carried a battered holdall, its contents a reminder of the past he was trying to outrun. He carries a worn paper with Room 6B, Tymouth Road written on it. Salty, rusty North Shields. Dull eyes, with numb pubs, grim routine. Old restlessness stirred. He pressed it down. Running's End? Chaos arrived first. Rare smiles. Lexus 330s ruled. Marcel, just an errand boy. He carried heavy envelopes and ferried sharp whispers, always rising too fast. He still remembered the night it all went wrong, the airstrip incident. Two rivals, cornering him at the derelict tarmac of Uli Primary School. They stripped him, beat him within an inch of his life, and left him under the sodium lights. His body had turned into a map of bruises. In Uli, clever boys who asked too many questions didn't last long. He fled, and his past faded, landed in Heathrow, and passport stamped. He started warehouse shifts, cleaning contracts, wake night shifts. The circle continues: work, eat, sleep. In North Shields, anonymity was survival. For a while, it worked. Until Daz found him. Darren Daz Moffat stood 6'1", his body thick with muscle and ink. The first time they met, his handshake was firm, deliberate. "You're quiet, mate," Daz had said. "You see things. I like that. Ever fancy earning more than minimum wage?" Marcel had politely declined. But in North Shields, no one respected a no for long. One night, he returned to flat 6B. The door was ajar. His roommate, Colin, was gone. No mess, no signs of struggle, just an empty room, like someone had erased him. On the mattress sat a small envelope. Inside, a frayed Biafran pound note. His heart tightened. Someone knew. He had no choice anymore. The next evening, Marcel approached Daz at the Black Trawler pub. "I'm in," he said. Daz's smile was cold, empty. They called themselves the Crank, a loose network of debt collectors, smugglers, bare-knuckle boxers, and low-rent racketeers. They weren't big, but they were vicious. Daz ruled with fists. His right-hand man, Spenny Hargreaves, ruled with paranoia. Spenny's face was a roadmap of violence, a buzz cut, cauliflower ears, and a jagged scar running down his cheek. Marcel became their fixer, the smart lad. He didn't carry crowbars or throw punches. He kept the books, spotted the weak debtors, plotted escape routes, and laundered money through second-hand shops. They trusted him because they didn't understand him, and that was his edge. But Marcel did what he had failed to do in Uli. He seeded division from within. He whispered in Daz's ear that Spenny was skimming off the top. He told Spenny Daz was making backdoor deals. He let little Kev, Spenny's right-hand man, wonder if he was being sidelined. He flirted with Jody Daz's girlfriend just enough to plant doubt. And then he waited. November 5, Guy Fawkes night. Fireworks bloomed across North Shields, orange and white bursts lighting the sky. Bonfires roared. Kids shrieked in the streets. Perfect cover. At 9:45 p.m, the Black Trawler erupted. Marcel had sent an anonymous tip to Northumbria police. Illegal arms deal tonight. The Black Trawler pub. Crank boys. Heavily armed. He sent another to Spenny. Daz gave you up. Coppers inbound. Take care of yourself, lad. Police stormed the pub. Daz swung first, his fist connecting with a sergeant's jaw. Spenny, fueled by betrayal, smashed a bottle across Daz's face before bolting only to be tackled out back and cuffed. By sunrise, the Crank was gone. Marcel vanished just as neatly. He emptied his flat. New forged passport. Bank accounts closed. CCTV footage wiped clean thanks to weeks of quiet favors traded with a clerk at the council IT office. Even his national insurance number was erased in a carefully orchestrated data breach. His last known image? Grainy CCTV at Newcastle Central Station, boarding a train south. He became a ghost again. Months passed. Stories surfaced. A truck driver in Hull claimed he'd shared a cigarette with a Nigerian lad who knew too much about betting scams. A bartender in Bristol swore someone tipped him with a Biafran pound note. A customs officer in Rotterdam filed a report about a man boarding a freighter to Lagos, fingerprints smudged beyond recognition. But Marcel wasn't in Lagos. He was in Rotterdam, blending into the Afrikaanderwijk district, a place where forgotten men, like him, could disappear. He called himself Ade now, a dockhand by day, a coder by night for the Shadow a smuggling ring. He was invisible, or so he thought. One October morning, as he sipped Turkish coffee at Café Kokatepe, a folded slip of paper appeared under his saucer. No one could have placed it there. No one. He unfolded it. Another Biafran pound note. On the back, "We remember, come to the Mashaven docks." Midnight. His pulse remained steady, old reflexes kicking in. At midnight, beneath the skeletal cranes at Mashavan docks, he arrived. Hooded jacket, gloves, ceramic knife taped to his back. A figure stepped from between shipping containers, and Marcel froze. Spenny, older, scarred, limping, but alive. "You should be dead," Marcel said, his voice flat. "Nah," Spenny rasped. "Prison didn't kill me. Northumbria couldn't pin half of what they thought they had. Daz? Dead. Little Kev? Grass. Me? I adapted." Spenny grinned. 6 masked enforcers stepped out from the shadows, Dutch-Nigerian faces, machetes and pistols glinting under sodium lights. "You thought you left Uli behind, didn't you?" Spenny sneered. "Turns out you're big boys? They have long fingers. Deshadu isn't just Dutch, it's got old Nigerian hands. You didn't vanish, lad. You just got reeled back in." Marcel smiled faintly. Same chessboard, new pieces. He pretended to yield, thumb sliding over his burner phone. One press, and a cargo container exploded in Terminal 3. Spenny's men flinched, and Marcel moved. A knife to an Achilles tendon, an elbow to a windpipe, a gun stolen, 2 clean shots. Spenny fumbled for his gun, but Marcel was already slipping between shadows. By dawn, Rotterdam's police were combing the dockyards. Spenny had fled wounded, enraged. Marcel burnt everything. Again, his flat emptied, digital trails severed, identity erased. Within 48 hours, he was gone. On a rain-slick platform at Gare du Nord, Paris, a man in a trench coat dropped a coin into a café saucer. The coin bore a tiny Biafran symbol. In Marseille, an arms smuggling ring disintegrated in a fiery explosion. In Portsmouth, an MI5 officer studied a file linking the Crank, Deshadu, and Nigerian cartels. A grainy photo showed Marcel boarding a train in Rotterdam. The agent scribbled a note. Target resurfaces repeatedly. Same mo, same disappearances. Is Marcel cleaning house or building his own? Somewhere on a ferry crossing the Bay of Biscay, Marcel stared at the grey horizon. Marcel wasn't running anymore. He wasn't hiding. His next stop? Bilbao, Spain. The city was a crossroads, old iron foundries mixed with sleek buildings, and secrets lurked beneath everyday life. In the outskirts, at Euskalduna shipyard, the Conclave had gathered. Marcel, now Chuka Okoye, moved with cold precision. The months of preparation had led him here. Fake identity, fake history. Everything calculated. No room for error. Inside the room, Chief Odogwu Uba, a legendary figure, sat at the head of the table. Spenny, scarred from Rotterdam, stared at Marcel, recognition flickering before contempt took over. 19 men, all after power. Marcel wasn't here to join them, he was here to end them. As they spoke of drug shipments and arms deals, Marcel waited for the right moment. Then, with calm precision, he stood. He proposed full control over Rotterdam docks. Spenny sneered. "You think we'll just take your word for it?" Marcel slid a small drive across the table. "I've already spoken to the right people. The system's in place." Odogwu plugged the drive into the projector. The screen lit up with maps, shipping lanes, and coordinates. But beneath the surface, a back door had been embedded away to expose them all. Just as Odogwu leaned in, Marcel pressed a button on his jacket. Far away, a drone powered up. It headed for a signal tower at the heart of their encrypted network. The drone released an EMP burst. Seconds later, the digital world went dark. Phones buzzed with frantic messages. Sirens cut through the quiet. The Conclave's world was falling apart. Odogwu stared at Marcel, understanding dawning, but there was no time for words. Spenny reached for his gun, but Marcel was faster. One shot. Spenny hit the ground. The others froze. Boots echoed down the hallway. Authorities were closing in. Marcel turned to Odogwu one last time. "You knew it was coming." Odogwu nodded. "You were never really one of us." Marcel stepped back, walking out as the police swarmed in. The conclave was finished. Days later, in a small village outside Porto, Portugal, a man sat at the edge of a pier, watching the sunset. He wore simple clothes, his face unrecognizable from the man he used to be. When asked his name, he smiled faintly, the weight of his past behind him. "Obinna," he said quietly, the ocean calm before him. And for the first time in years, Marcel, now Obinna, allowed himself to breathe easy. The end. This is Folktales of Many Tribes. See you on the next one.